part 7 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale Phantom F-4B build. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies and welcome to part 7 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale Phantom F-4B build. Now over here we have all the parts that I've already worked on. So as you can see, fuselage is pretty much assembled already. All the parts are all glued together. Got the tailplane, it's all moving on its polycaps, and we've started putting on the undercarriage bay doors. Okay, so that was what was I up to? That was step 29. So I already started on step 30. So step 30 is part of the front undercarriage, which I have here. Now, I didn't glue that on beforehand because I wanted to wait until I had a bit more together so that wouldn't get broken while it was being stored away. All right, so let's continue on from where we were. I've got the bulk of that section done, and I've just got a few other items such as some ducts across the front to do. So let me just pop on my mag visors here and we'll get into it. All right, so let's get some of this intakes. So we've got R1 and R2, so they're going to be over here. All right, let's cut those off. Just need to cut off some of these extra injection points. Give it a quick trim with a knife. Okay, let's fit those over here. There's a bit of a dry fit.
I'll just wait till
Nope. A bit more of a dag just over here. It appears. Okay, now those two vent intakes look very similar, but they're actually molded with different points of locating, so you don't get them mixed up. So let's just dry fit it and make sure we've got the right one, the right spot. So that one's there. No, so when you try to put it on the wrong way, it's not going to be flush. Okay, so it's easy to work out which way it goes where. All right, so we have this. Just apply some glue. Okay, so that's one side on. Do the other side. Okay, so those vent intakes look pretty good. And now it's a matter of gluing on this front undercarriage panel, which will just slide in place. Okay, so I just realized there's no reason why I haven't glued it on yet, because I'm waiting to put the strut in, and the strut will help me align this properly. So I just leave it in there, dry fit for the moment. And that means we move on to the next step. So after completing step 30, we're going to be moving on to step 31. Okay, so step 31 is attaching the nose landing gear. So we need to get the strut with the scissors together, and then the wheel as well. So a couple of wheels. These are all on sprue A. So that'll be this one here. Okay. So we've got 18, 19. All right, let's trim those off. That's A23. A23. No, that can't be right. Oh, A32. A32, A25. A30 and A31 are the scissors. Okay, all right, we'll pop those over here. All right, let's trim these off. Makes them all nice and clean. one scissor and then one more. And then this strut. Okay, all right, so let's start gluing up these smaller items. I'm going to strut right here. Just make sure we have the orientation right on these parts. Okay. This tiny part here. Okay, and now the scissor. Now these parts, as you can see, are really tiny. So that bit there. And this bit. Just have a closer look at it to make sure everything's attached the right way around. Okay, so this one is A30. So it goes on the top. A31. So this is towards the bottom now. Just going to make sure that these two are glued so they're at the right points here. Let's see, I may glue one of these on first. Put the slightest amount of glue on just to take it in place. Same here again, just a little bit of glue to tack. And once that's together, we can align these two so that they're connected correctly together. And that's perfect. Alright, so a touch of glue at the hinge joint of this scissor. Let's hold those together. Okay, so as you can see, We've got all that complete. Alright, so we'll apply a bit more glue on the inside. Okay, so that's the front undercarriage leg done. Now I just get the wheels ready too. I like to put the wheels on at the very end, that way you can align them perfectly. So we'll get the strut ready. We'll pop this all in here. So that'll slot into place. Seems like a bit of a tight fit because there's a little bit of material here. I'll give this a little bit of a scrape so it's a bit easier to get in. Okay, let's try that again. Alright, so it's better. Push that in. Now we just work out how this attaches. It all falls into place, which is quite nice. So you can see how the door here, I still got that loose, and that locates itself perfectly to that front strut. Okay, I'm all happy with that, so I'm going to glue it into place. Okay, so we're going to just check the alignment. It looks pretty straight, looks very nice. Okay. Well, there's a strut in place on the front. Actually, there's this reinforcing bit that I almost forgot. Let's pop that in place. Alright, so that's the actuating strut here. Let's just glue that. Alright. Good stuff. Okay, so we're going to move on to, actually I better get the front wheels together. Let's find where these are D components. Okay, so D3, they're going to be these little wheels. Okay, so that's this tiny wheel here. And another one is second sprue. Okay, let's just quickly clean up these wheels. I'm just using a slightly finer grid here just to go all the way around. Just gets rid of that center seam line. Okay, so these are two nose wheels there. So I'll glue these on a bit later. We'll put these on when we do all the main undercarriage wheels as well. Okay, so from there we're moving on to step 32. So this is going to be the front undercarriage side door. So that's R parts again. R, lost them now. Let's go these. No, that's Q parts. Oh no, these are parts. Okay, so there's these panels. R6 and R7. Give them a bit of a clean up. Alright, so it's nice and clean. Just check this one. Okay. Alright, so we have this face panel, and then this one just glues over the top. A locating pin. Alright, that lines up okay. Alright, let's glue these two halves together. Alright, so I have those together. Now I've got a strut here, R4, which I should have cut off earlier, but let's find it now. R4, it's just there. I'm going to need a bit of a knife to trim this off. Okay. All right, so we got our two main components here, and then we're just gonna, let's just arrange this to a bit of angle to work with. So you see this little tab there. So this is part of the engineering that Tamiya has done in making sure that everything gets aligned correctly and maintains a very strong joint, because these undercarriage doors usually are only glued with very thin face cross here. They tend to be very easy to break off. So with this big tab, that's going to slot within the inside of this undercarriage well. It ensures that it's going to be really strong and it's going to be correctly fitted at the right angle. So as we see, it's on now. You can see it just hanging there. See how that's just come off, and then it's a very solid point. You can't really get that wrong. Okay, so that's quite impressive. But before I glue it all up, I like to have these struts in place first. To see how that goes on. And tweezers are definitely going to help in this situation. Okay, so this just dropped straight into place. There was a little click, which is nice. Okay, it's good stuff. All right, I'm going to glue it in place now. Now that feels rock solid. Just make sure this is pressed in place. Okay, all feels really good. So here we go. We've got that panel, or the door that's in place. So that's the rear section of the door. Front section of the door is attached to the strut. And that's it for step 32. So let's move on to step 33. So that's basically doing the radome, or the nose cone. Okay, so let's grab that. So what do we have there? We've got M5, to this one here. And then we have choices of the lower section, which will be a sensor of some kind. So let's go for the chunky one, I think. I like the chunky one because there's extra bits on it. So it's P24 and P25. So P, where are the P parts? P parts are over here, I think. P24, P25. So I'm going for this one here with the extra chunky bit hanging off it. Okay, so let's just give it a quick trim. I'll leave that one on, I'll trim that off later when we'll glue the two halves together. Let's do the dry fit, make sure it's all good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright, let's pop that there, we'll glue that in a sec. Let's just trim off this nose cone. Okay. Just being a little bit careful at the moment because we just want to make sure that this join line is not going to be out of place. Let's do a quick dry fit. Alright, once this goes on, it's going to look much more like the finished product. So it's all looking pretty good. See that? Got the nose of our Phantom. Alright, so I think that's pretty good. I'm going to give this a little bit more of a cleaning. Just a little bit of sand. And a little bit finer sandpaper just to clean up this edge. Okay, now we're going to glue this sensor in place. Let's just see how it fits first. That's really nice. I've glued it and it fits like a glove. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these two halves of the sensor together using the radome as a bit like a jig, I guess. Okay. Along here. Alright, so now I'm going to apply glue to all the rest of this join. That looks pretty good. Pull that back in place. Really very nice how it all fits together. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this straight onto the radome now. Okay, so there's our nose all done there. It's just a matter of gluing it in place now. So let's just pop this on. I think it looks pretty good. I'm not actually going to glue it on now. It's got a nice dry fit. I'll keep that separate until we get to the point of doing the canopy, because like I did with the rest of the aircraft, we'll get some of these interconnecting parts and glue them at the same time so that we don't have any issues with fit at a later stage. Even though it is a Tamiya kit, and if I glue it on, it will fit all really well. By keeping it all separate, you can make sure you can get the absolute perfect fit. Okay, but for the moment, let's just keep it on there. All right, so that's step 33 complete. Let's see what's on step 34. Okay, so step 34 is doing the main undercarriage. Okay, so main landing gear left. Let's grab all these bits. So I'm going to need some N sprue and some P sprue. Okay. Now I saw all those here before. It's a matter of locating all your bits. What have we got here? Nope. Is it on here? Got some main gear doors here. So what's that? That's E. Main landing gear wheels, I should say. Right, so those E parts, let's just chop the whole thing off and keep that. There's one of those. Alright, so N and P sprue. There's number E. Alright, so what do we have here? We've got the N sprue here. It's got the main landing undercarriage on it. So 28, 29. Alright, so N1 and N2. N1, N2 and P28, which are going to be some of the undercarriage doors. I must have missed them when they were over here. Here we go. P28, P29. Okay, so let's see. So what do we have here? We've got N29, in 28. Okay, so just going to clean up. Okay, so that's done. Just be careful when you trim off some of these because these are really fine parts. Just need to be gentle. Okay. Alright, so what do we do first? We're going to do the left one first. So the left one I'll put all the parts across the top here. Now, let's see, there are some decals and some painting to do, but I'm going to leave all the decals off because I don't have any. Let's pop this into place. Okay. Just make sure we get the alignment right on all these. Alright, let's just make sure this all fits. Okay, that looks right. Let's make sure this one's all good. Yep, okay. Glue these together. Alright, so we got that. Okay, looking good. Okay, so these just need the doors glued on. It's basically going to be like this. Oops. Okay, like so. Pop some glue. All right, so there's one. Okay, so there's our landing struts for the main landing gear. They're all done. They've got the doors on them already. And now we're just going to do the main landing wheels. So we don't need that anymore. Okay. So let's just glue these together. Now you notice I haven't trimmed these as yet because with these, since they're going to be sanded anyway, I just like to leave the nubs on there and then you just sand them all off at the same time. Less chances of making any gouge marks with your knife. Okay, so there's one glued up. Okay. All right, so there's the main undercarriage wheels all glued up. Now I'll wait until these dry off a little bit more, or actually completely, before I sand off the rest of it. Now I'm going to leave this at this stage. So we've finished the step 34. This is the main landing gear for the left and for the right. Next step is step 35, which is the air exhaust outlets, but we'll wait until our next session for that. So thank you for joining me with part 7 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale Phantom F-4B build, and I look forward to seeing you come by for what's the next one? That's episode 8. So thanks again. So as you can see, just going over what we've already done, it's pretty much doing all the little bits along the bottom. So we've got all the fiddly undercarriage components. Front's pretty much done. We've prepared the nose cone. It's not actually glued on yet, it's just dry assembled, but you get a better idea of its phantom shape now. We've got our front landing gear wheels there, and we've just assembled our main landing gear wheels and the struts with the undercarriage doors in place. Okay, so thank you for joining me again, and I'll see you next time.